Good afternoon, student. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Edward, and I'm from Green Planet Conservation Initiative. And I'm here with my team. I hope you can all hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm here with my team. This is Daniel, and the other one is okay. This is John, and the other one is Daniel. So we are from Green Planet Conservation Initiative, and basically what we do is that we create awareness of climate change. How many of you have heard climate change before? Have you heard anything climate change before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we create awareness. We go to schools and create awareness on climate change, or the causes, the effect, and the solutions to it. And climate change has become a serious issue in our world today because of the things that are happening. There's a lot of changes in the climate that is actually affecting humans, affecting us as humans. And if nothing is done, and if nothing is done as soon as possible, it will continue to, the effect will continue to increase from worst to worst. Are you getting me? So what we are doing now is that to create awareness, to create that consciousness, so that people will get to know what they need to do to mitigate the effect, to reduce the effect of that climate change. So before I will go on with the discussion, I want to like define some of the concepts so that it will help your understanding. I want to talk about whether just keep it here. Thank you. So I want to define some of the concepts so that it will give us an idea of what I'll be talking about. I want to define weather. You all know weather, right? Okay. So weather is actually a short-time changes in the atmosphere. And another definition says that weather is the short-term atmospheric condition of a place over a period of time. Are you with me?
Yes,
I hope you're following, right? So what it means that there are changes that occur in the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, changes like the way the sun shines, the way rain falls, the humidity of a place, the temperature of a place, the atmospheric pressure of a place. All these are changes that occur in the atmosphere, and when they occur over a short period of time, we say that this is the weather condition of that place. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So you now have an understanding of what weather is, right? Okay, now what then is climate? Okay, climate is a long-time weather pattern of a region, usually over a minimum period of 30 years. So what that means is that when a particular weather pattern has been consistent over a period of time, like say minimum of 30 years, we would assume that that's the climate of that environment. Are you following? So I said climate is a long-time weather pattern of a region over a period of time, usually a minimum of 30 years. So when a particular weather condition has maintained a particular pattern over a period of time, now that pattern now becomes the climate, that condition now becomes the climate of that environment. Are you with me?
Yes.
I hope you're getting what I'm saying.
Yes.
I will ask you questions, so just keep listening. Keep giving your ears. So now, what then is climate change? Since you now understand these two concepts, what then is climate change? Now, climate change is actually a long-term shift in temperature or in weather pattern. Now, what I mean by long-term shift is that there has been consistent changes from the normal to the abnormal weather pattern. Are you following me? Okay, let me try to see how I can make it easier. I said it's a long-term shift in weather pattern or in temperature. Now, what it means that if a temperature of a particular place has been, let's say the temperature of, for an example, has been something like 25 degrees Celsius. And over time, that temperature continues to rise, and maybe at some point it gets to 100 degrees Celsius. Are you following? It gets to 100 degrees Celsius. It means that there has been changes in that temperature pattern, the way the temperature rises, right? So Now, when we want to relate it to climate change, we are talking about there are some things that has been happening in the atmosphere, and it has been causing consistent changes from the normal position, normal condition that the atmosphere is supposed to be to an abnormal condition. Are you following? It now becomes a climate change. And this happens when it happens in terms of in relation to the temperature, the way the temperature rises, or the way the weather pattern goes. Are you following me? Now, what actually causes this climate change? Now, some of this climate change can be as a result of natural occurrence, like the activities of the sun, the way the sun shines. You understand? Like volcanic eruption. These are some of the things that are natural that cannot be controlled by humans. The majority of the things that causes climate change is as a result of human factors. Are you following? As a result of our human activities, our activities on Earth, what we do. These are most of the things that causes the changes in the atmosphere. And what are these activities that we do? Like, it has been proven that, in fact, one of the things that causes climate change is the use of fossil fuel. How many of you have heard of fossil fuel? Okay, now fossil fuel are fuel that are gotten from sources like coal. How many of you have heard of coal before? Coal that is mined from the ground. Okay, oil and gas. You heard of oil and gas? Okay, oil and gas. Okay, you know crude oil.
Yes.
Crude oil we call is referred to as oil and gas. You know why? From crude oil you get oil. You have different components from crude oil, right?
Yes.
You get oil, you get gas from crude oil. From crude oil you get petrol, you get kerosene, diesel, you get bitumen. Then from there you also get natural gas. So we call them oil and gas. Do you understand? Yes. So most of the things that causes this climate change as a result of the burning of fossil fuel. I hope you understand what fossil fuel is now, right? Now, like sometimes also we do deforestation. Many of you know what deforestation is? Okay, when we cut down trees, and sometimes when we burn them. When you cut down tree and burn them, it releases gases into the atmosphere, right? Now, how does this fossil fuel cause the climate change? Now, when we use our vehicles like our cars, our trucks, you know, cars use petrol, right?
Yes.
And when we drive them, they tend to use up the fuel by burning up the fuel through a process of combustion and releases gases into the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
When it burns through a process of combustion, it releases gases into the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
Likewise, our trucks. When we drive trucks also, it burns and releases gases into the atmosphere too. Are you following? Then when we burn coal, like sometimes, okay now, long time ago, we used to use coal to drive the trains. The trains are no longer like in our country, in Africa as a whole. We used to use coal to power train before, but most of those things are becoming they are actually gradually moving away. So when we burn those things, it actually releases gases into the atmosphere, and those gases are the things that cause climate change. Now, those gases that are being released, we call them greenhouse gases. Are you following me? Now, greenhouse gases, what are those greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases are gases that tend to trap the heat from the sun. It tends to trap the heat from the sun from escaping out of the atmosphere. It acts as a blanket over the earth. Are you following me? Greenhouse gases, they tend to trap the heat from the sun and act as a blanket over the head. So what that thing means is that it allows the heat. You know, there's a way the sun shines. As the sun shines, the heat comes to the earth, right?
Yes.
And as it comes, some of those heat are also expected to escape into the atmosphere. Now, but because of those greenhouse gases, they tend to cage the heat from the sun. As it cages the heat from the sun will not be able to escape out of the atmosphere, thereby causing what we call global warming. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now, what is that global warming? Now, global warming is when the atmosphere is being heated more than the normal temperature. Are you getting me? now the atmosphere, the temperature of the atmosphere is getting hotter than the usual, than what it used to be. It's warming. The atmosphere is becoming warmer than necessary. Are you following me?
Yes.
Are you getting? I hope you're following. You're getting. Okay. So these are some of the things that actually causes causes the climate change. Like I said, the burning of fossil fuel, right? Then releases gases into the atmosphere. When you release them, it has been one of the major gases that causes the climate change is carbon dioxide. How many of you know carbon dioxide? Okay, carbon dioxide, yes. So it has been proven that carbon dioxide actually is a primary gas that causes climate change. Now we have other gases. We have what we call methane. Methane, we also get them from products of crude oil and all that. We also get it from farming of livestock, rice farming and all that. From there you can get methane. Then we also have nitrous oxide. We also have fluorinated gases. These are gases that, like the gas we use for refrigeration, those are fluorinated gases. They're actually some of the gases that cause this climate change. But the primary gas is that carbon dioxide. Are you following?
Yes.
And it has been proven that ever since the Industrial Revolution, the temperature of the atmosphere has actually been increasing from one level to the other. You know what the Industrial Revolution is? Okay, there were times when we started having industries. Industries started springing up here and there, all over the world. A lot of countries started going into manufacturing, production, and all those things. Those were the times and it's known as the Industrial Revolution. A lot of companies, a lot of countries actually joined in manufacturing, production, and all that. So during those periods, that was when the atmosphere, the temperature of the atmosphere started increasing because of the activities of those companies. Are you following? Because some of them burn diesel, some of them also use one petroleum product or one petroleum chemical or the other. So all those activities actually was causing global warming, causing the temperature of the earth to rise. So it has been also, research also, climate scientists have also proven that the temperature of the earth has been increasing from one decade to the other. Like the warmest of all the temperatures was between 2011 to 2020. That's when we had the highest warming of the atmosphere on record. Are you following?
Yes.
Now, what are the effects of this climate change? How does it really affect us as humans? Now, as we've discussed extensively on what climate change is and what causes climate change, what are the effects of this climate change? Now, one of the things that climate change causes is that it causes a rise in sea level. Now, you know that when the sun hits the sea, all of you know what sea is, ocean and all that. When the sun hits the sea, the ocean, the temperature of the water tends to becomes hotter than usual, and thereby making the water level to rise. Are you following? And that also could also cause flooding in some areas, because when the temperature rises above, the water tends to overflow to the banks, right? The bank of the river. And when that happens, it also can cause flooding. And we've experienced a couple of flooding in Nigeria here over time. I hope you know that. So all these things are as a result of global warming. It could also cause food scarcity. You understand? Now, anytime there's flooding, there's always food scarcity. As in the number of food we get that year will reduce, because you know why? Flood tends to destroy the food the crops that we planted, right? Yes. So once it destroys those things, we'll not be able to harvest food in a normal way. Then it also causes faster spread in disease. When the atmosphere is warmer or hotter, diseases tend to spread faster than normal. It tends to spread faster, and also it affects those that are vulnerable, like the elderly, the younger ones, because their immune system is actually quite low at that point. Then it also causes displacement, because when there's flooding, people don't have a place to stay; they have to move away from their place. Then it also causes there's a place where we call the polar region on the earth here. That polar region actually consists, that's where you go and see ice mostly on the sea. You see ice around that area, and as a result of this global warming, it's actually melting those ice. Are you following? And there are also aquatic animal that lives in the sea. When the temperature becomes hotter than normal, it disrupts the ecosystem of the water. You understand? It tends to affect those aquatic animals that lives in the water. Are you following? So there are so many things that this climate change actually causes. But at least the few I've given you now, at least you have an understanding of what the effects are, right? Now, how do we mitigate this climate change? How do we stop it, or how do we reduce it? Now, one of the things we do as an organization is that we try to create awareness on this climate change. We try to create awareness, go around schools and communities to create awareness, so that we will have the knowledge of what climate change as we are growing. You guys are still younger generation. As you're growing, you have the mindset of what the climate change is and what you need to do on your own part to mitigate that. Are you following? Yes. So now, what we do now is that, like, we as an organization, we encourage tree planting. When I was talking, and when I was doing explanation, I said something like that the primary gas that causes climate change is carbon dioxide, right? Yes. Now, do you know what these trees and flowers and other vegetation does? You know what they do primarily is that they absorb carbon dioxide, right? Yes. These plants, they absorb carbon dioxide, and through a process known as photosynthesis, releases oxygen, right? Yes, sir. I hope you're following. Yes, so what we do is that when you plant a tree, or you plant a flower, or you plant any form of plant, what it does is that it tends to reduce the effects of that climate change. I hope you're following. Yes. So most times when we go around schools, we even tell them, okay, sometimes we will try to support schools also to have some plants around the school, some smaller schools on our own capacity. Now, but we usually tell them, at least apart from beautifying the school environment, it also has importance on the environment. I hope you're following. Yes. So in your homes also, when some of you that have large compounds, if you go, you can also tell your parents also to plant one fruit tree or the other. This must not necessarily be a flower. You can encourage, like we have the mango tree, the guava, all these things are trees. The economic trees that can actually contribute to reducing the effect of climate change. I hope you're following. Yes. So now, apart from tree planting, there are also other things that could also be done to mitigate the effect. In fact, to tell you the seriousness of this issue, the United Nations usually organize a program annually, and they call it Conference of the Parties, where all the nations of the world gather to discuss on this issue. And there was one that was held late last year, around November to December. And I think Nigeria also went for that program also, where they discussed some of the issues. And that of last year was they usually tag with a number. That of last year was COP28, Conference of the Parties 28. So, and it was held in United Arab Emirates. And there they discussed so many issues on climate change. And one of the things they came out with is that there should be a move away from the use of fossil fuel to the use of renewable energy. How many of you know what renewable energy is? Okay, renewable energy is energies that are gotten from natural sources like the sun, the water, the wind, and what else again? Okay, basically the sun, the water, the wind. They are renewable energies, and these energies, we call them clean and cheap energy. We call them clean because they don't release or they don't have effect on humans. Do you understand? And they are renewable because as you're using, it's being replenished. I hope you're following. And it's also sustainable. It's something that it will always be there. You understand? And so there's well, one of the things that, like I said, one of the things that was actually agreed was the move away from the use of fossil fuel to the use of renewable energy, where all nations are being asked to move away from the use of fossil fuel. But for we in Africa here, we still have a long way to go. But with time, I know we'll get there. You know, some Western world now, they've started having electric cars, right? Yes, those electric cars don't use fuel, so they don't need to burn. They don't need to burn fuel to release gases into the atmosphere. They use electricity, and most times it's something that is even powered by a solar system. So once the thing is done, you plug it and it comes up again. You understand? So most of them are actually moving away from the use of these petrol cars to electric cars. So that's what they're actually advocating for now. Do you understand? And they're also advocating that most of these companies that use that releases more of this carbon, they should cut down on their carbon emission. Like the oil companies, if you go to the Niger Delta, we have a lot of oil companies. They release a lot of those gases into the atmosphere because they most times the process of extraction of those crude oil and some of the local refining that they are doing there is also releasing gases into the atmosphere. So they are asking most of these companies to cut down on the use of carbon. They reduce the amount of carbon they release into the atmosphere. I hope you're following. Yes. Okay. So these are some of the solutions, and these are some of the things we need to do. So like I said, we as an organization, we educate students so that they will understand the importance. Like one of the things I said planting of trees, right? Flowers and other vegetation. Are you following? Yes. Okay. Now at this point, do you have any question? Huh? You have any question? Okay, now I have a question. Can I ask? Yes. Okay.
So if the companies stop using carbon dioxide, stop using, they should stop releasing out the carbon dioxide finally. How which source to extract the mineral? Which machine will be used, or how will they extract the mineral?
I don't really understand the question. You said the company
stopped. Sir, you said they should cut down the use of this carbon.
Yes.
So what are they going to do?
Okay. What are they going to do? Okay, I understand your listening now. Okay, now like I mentioned, I said when I was talking, I said that we are actually advocating the use of move away from the use of fossil fuel to the use of renewable energy. So now, if, like I said, in this part of the world we are still developing, we can't just leave those things immediately. But with time, we'll gradually move away from it. So now, for now, if every one of us starts embracing something like solar, if we have a solar technology that everybody will start embracing, then those companies now will start, because majority of them are either they are burning diesel or they're using one petroleum product or the other. And all these things are sources of energy. They use it to generate energy. And this same energy can also equally be generated from the sun, from the wind, and from water also. Do you understand? So if they can, what we are saying when they should cut down is that whatever that is going to lead to the release of carbon into the atmosphere should be avoided or cut down to a limited level. Are you following? So such companies, if they are burning diesel to generate their energy, they can move away from the use of diesel to the use of solar. Do you understand? Are you with me? And I don't know if I've answered your question, but we'll still have a long way to go. With time, we'll get to move away from the use of this complete use of anything that has to do with fossil to a better source of energy. Okay. Okay.
If they planted trees
Okay.
around the industry, that can it reduce the going up of the
Okay, very
carbon?
good. You know, like I said, one of the things we do to mitigate the effect of this climate change is to plant trees, right?
Yes.
And the trees tend to absorb the carbon dioxide that has been released into the atmosphere and release oxygen, right? So when you plant trees around industries, the trees will actually absorb the carbon, but it might not absorb all the whole carbon in the atmosphere. Do you understand? I don't know the number of except you in a whole community, you just have to plant trees there. You understand? So the best option is that what the tree actually does is that when it releases those, when it absorbs the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, it tends to balance the stability in it tends to bring about stability in the atmosphere. Do you understand? It tends to balance the effect of those changes. Are you following me? But we are not advising that you go and open factory and start plant trees. That will not be the solution. Do you understand? It's either they cut down on the use of of anything that causes climate change, or they move away to a renewable source of energy. Are you following? Mm-hmm. So, any other question? Okay.
So since you say they should stop using gas,
Okay.
so how would the plants survive? And if the plants are not able to survive, that means humans will not be able to survive. So how will the plants now survive?
You'd like to really get to that. They should stop using what?
You said they should stop using fossil gas.
Fossil, yes.
Yes. So if there are no gas like the carbon dioxide, it's not be able to sustain the plants, and the sun might not be able to sustain the plants. And so humans will be
Very
able to
intelligent
eat.
question. Originally, there's a way the atmosphere is created, and some of those gases are meant to be there naturally. Do you understand? Those gases are meant to be there naturally. But the problem we have is that we are producing more and more harmful gases that destabilizes the atmosphere. Are you understanding? Like I said, when I wanted to define climate change, I say it's it's a long-time shift in temperature or in weather pattern. Meaning that over time there has been changes happening in the atmosphere. Now, when this natural, the way the earth is created, there are gases inside. Do you understand? And those gases, when you have some harmful gases being released from time to time, and consistently over a period of time, it begins to destabilize the atmosphere. Do you understand? It begins to destabilize the atmosphere, causing changes, causing that shift that we're talking about. Do you understand? It destabilizes the atmosphere over time, and thereby causing changes in the atmosphere. I hope you're with me. Originally, those gases are meant to be there. The way God created it, those gases are in the air. You understand? But what we are saying now, because of our activities, too much of our activities, a lot of harmful gases are being released, more than the normal way it should be. You understand? And those gases are the things that are causing problems. Do you understand? So ordinarily, if those activities were not taking place, the plants will still survive, every other thing will still survive with the natural way it is originally. But our activities keep increasing those number of gases. Yeah, I love this question. Very intelligent question. Okay, at this point, I will ask my own vaccine. Okay, who can define weather for me here? So now, who can define weather for me? Okay.
Is a short change in the weather. Is a short change in the atmosphere.
Very good. That's a perfect. Okay, who can define climate for me? Climate. Okay. I say climate, not climate change. Climate. Okay, define. Okay, come again with your definition.
Climate can be defined as a long-term change in the weather temperature over there.
What you just defined is climate change. Climate change. But nevertheless, you tried. In fact, I will start by this one gonna answer my question. So that you get motivated to answer. You answered my first question, right? You answered, but you answered climate change. But it shows that you're listening. So who can define the climate itself? A lot of hands are coming up. Okay, let me hear.
Climate can be defined as the average weather condition of a place over a long period of time.
Okay, I like the way you put it. Okay, now what I mentioned what causes climate change. A lot of people. Okay. Deforestation. Good. Okay, let me hear from you.
Burning of fossil fuel.
Very good. Let me hear from you.
Releasing of harmful gases
Harmful gases. Okay, what are those gases?
like carbon dioxide.
Okay, very good. Industrial revolution. Okay, now, what I mentioned greenhouse gases. What are those greenhouse gases? And what is, you define the greenhouse gas, and okay, define what greenhouse gas is. Explain it. Okay. I've given you before, right? I've given you. No, I need people that have not answered this. Okay.
Greenhouse gases are those gases that tend to stop the heat from going out of the earth.
Very good. I love the way you explained it in his own way. Yeah, very good. Okay, now what are the greenhouse gases? Mention them. I mentioned a couple of them. Greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide. I'm not giving you, right? Okay, you're the one that asked that intelligent question. I should have given you first. Okay. You mentioned carbon dioxide. The other ones I mentioned too.
Global warming.
No, I said gases, greenhouse gases. I mentioned greenhouse gases. What are those gases? Okay. Methane, very good. Very good. I know that ones might not. Okay, I mentioned carbon dioxide, I mentioned methane, I also mentioned fluorinated gases, and I also mentioned nitrous oxide. So, what are the solutions to climate change? Solution to climate change. If you've not answered, I only need those ones that have not answered. Okay. Let me start from. Okay, you've not answered, right? Okay. Inside. Green Planet Collaboration Initiative. Thank you, sir.